Hey, what's up guys, it's Dan, and in today's video I'm going to talk about what it actually costs to sell on Amazon FBA in 2019 and 2020. Now, this is a big misconception. A lot of people, when they get started with selling on Amazon, they have no idea how much money it's going to cost, and they're listening to all these different videos that are basically saying different things. One person is saying $500, one person is saying $3,000, one person is saying you can't start unless you have $5,000, right? So that's why I'm making this video, because things have changed. I've actually made a video similar to this on my channel in 2017, and obviously things have changed and Amazon is not the same as it was back then. And so since I'm always making Amazon FBA content, as well as how to start a successful online business and how to achieve freedom, the freedom lifestyle, how to achieve freedom in your life and really create the life of your dreams through online business, that's why I'm making this video, because I want to make it clear and I want to kind of erase any kind of misconceptions that you might have going into this business. So in this video, I'm going to give you the exact no BS truth about how much it's going to cost you, not only for your first order, because all the YouTubers only talk about the initial costs. I'm actually going to run you down and take you like exactly to what you should expect for your first order and then for your second order, because we all know that if you have a successful first order and your product sells on Amazon, well then you're going to have to reorder, and that involves sometimes some cash flow issues. So that's why I want to give you the realistic expectations so you're prepared and you know the exact numbers. And I'm going to split the cost between mandatory and optional, because there are some things that are optional and there's a lot of things that are mandatory, and I'm going to give you the honest truth about what I think you should actually pay for as a cost and what I think is truly optional. And now it's up to you to basically take my opinion, and it's up to you to do whatever you want to do with that information. But the whole point of this is just to give you an exact number as well as a month-to-month breakdown. So month 1 and month 2 we'll go in first with the mandatory and optional costs, as well as we're going to calculate the total of that, and then we're also going to get into the actual how much it's going to cost for the first order, and then what you should expect going into your second order, because we all know Amazon isn't just your first order. Now, if you're watching this video right now, you've probably already started looking into starting an online business. You want to quit your 9-to-5 job. Maybe you want to go and really actually achieve freedom, and that's something that I've been able to do. It's the lifestyle that I've been kind of living for the past few years of my life. Now I'm more focused on my mission, which is building the world's best content, the world's best platform for actually helping people start a successful online business and achieve freedom. And so I can tell you from my honest point of view that Amazon FBA is the best business you can start today. It's part of kind of the two best businesses you can start today. So it's Amazon FBA and Shopify. We're not going to get too much into Shopify right now, but I'll explain why. Because with Amazon FBA, you can get started and you can have a profitable business that pays you $5,000, $10,000, even $20,000, $30,000 a month in passive income within a few months. And I'll show you exactly how that's done. I'll show you exactly how I did it, and I'll talk about my costs for my first few orders that I had to incur in my first year of selling on Amazon, and just what you should realistically expect. So let's break down the costs. So what's mandatory, what's optional? We're going to draw a table here. We're going to split it into two. And I'm going to go over every single possible expense. I'm not going to forget anything, and I'm going to give you kind of the average cost, because a lot of these things have a variable cost. It really depends, for example, like your inventory. It depends on, what the price per unit is, and your shipping. It really depends on the inventory as well, and where you're shipping to, if you're shipping via air or sea and things like that. And we'll get to that. But like I said, something that is mandatory, I truly, truly believe you will not be able to start a successful Amazon FBA business without it. And that's why I'm putting it in this table. And something that is optional, yeah, you can probably, live without it, but it will really, really help you, especially probably by the time you actually reorder for your second order and by the time you have a successful business. And the reason I'm doing this is because I know that you're probably on a relatively tight starting budget, or on a very tight starting budget, as I was when I was starting out. And so, there's a lot of tools out there, and there's a lot of really non-essential stuff that you really don't need. And so that's why I'll be honest with you with what I think you need in terms of tools and expenses, so that your starting budget that you have, whether it's very tight or relatively tight or not tight, so that it's used actually correctly and actually gets your return in your business and actually brings you a successful online business with Amazon. So the very first cost of Amazon FBA would be a good product research tool. And the reason I'm putting this in mandatory is because a few years ago, when there were no product research tools out there, and this was before I started on Amazon, I knew that back then, maybe in 2016, 2015, there literally were no product research tools. So sellers just had to guess which products would potentially sell. And so back then, that was a disaster, because it's literally just gambling. You have no idea if a product, how much your product is making already on Amazon, and you have no idea whether the product that you're thinking of doing is actually going to be profitable for you. But that was back in the old days. Right now, we have amazing product research tools, and I usually only love to recommend one tool, and I've always recommended only one tool, and that's JungleScout. JungleScout is the tool that I've used ever since the very beginning. And the reason I used that was because I found that of all the tools tools, that was the most accurate, and it was just the simplest and easiest to use, and it didn't have all the fluff that all the other tools had. Now, the reason why I'm recommending 2 tools and not just 1 tool in this video is because JungleScout is amazing if you're going to sell in either Canada or the United States, but if you're going to sell in Europe or in another marketplace like in Asia, like Amazon Japan, for example, then Helium 10 is better because Helium 10 has more of an added functionality for international. So for example, doing your keyword research or doing, just product research in general, it just supports international marketplaces better from my own experience. And I have both because I'm an established seller and I've been doing this for a while. And so that's why for US, Canada, JungleScout, and then for Europe, Asia, I just use Helium 10. Now, what I recommend, because you're just starting out right now, I recommend getting 1 tool depending on where you're going to sell. Now, both of these, they pretty much work for the entire world, except JungleScout doesn't work for the international, just for keyword research. But if you're just doing, trying to find products that will sell, I recommend if you're going to sell in US, Canada, JungleScout, and if you're going to sell anywhere else, Helium 10. Now, for a product research tool, how much it's going to cost really depends on the one that you select. So if we take JungleScout is actually 2 tools. It's the extension and then it's JungleScout. Now, the difference between the extension and JungleScout is if we go on Amazon and we want to see, let's say, how much money, for example, a coffee press is making. So if we go and type in coffee press, right? Whoops, I misspelled it there. And let's say we want to check how much all these coffee presses are making. We pull up JungleScout Chrome extension right here, and the extension shows us exactly how much money each listing is making. So we can see just from one coffee press or just one of these listings here, this Coffee Gator is making almost $100,000 in revenue per month. And so that's the extension. And this helps us see and predict basically, based on the competitors, how much money we can potentially make if we go and sell our product. Now, the other part of this is the JungleScout web app. And if we go into JungleScout here and we go to find products or product database right here, this allows us to actually search for products, and we can put filters in here, and it makes it really easy to find a profitable product and to actually get started with product research. So for example, we can select, baby, beauty, and personal care, and all the private labeling categories. I have a ton of product research videos on my channel, and I recommend you watch some of those after this video. Make sure to stay until the end of this one so you have an accurate idea of how much everything will cost. But both of these in conjunction will give you a very good idea of which product to do and how much money your product or you can expect to make with your product. Now, Helium 10 is a similar tool to JungleScout, so if you choose Helium 10 because you're going to sell in Europe or in Asia, then this is how it works. There's a ton of different tools out there. I love Helium 10, especially for the keyword tracking, as well as for Cerebro, Magnet, and then Black Box is what you'll be using for product research. That's the equivalent of the extension in JungleScout. So as you can see, you got Amazon Spain, Germany, France, Italy. And it also comes with a tool called X-Ray, which is similar to the JungleScout Chrome extension. So if we open up X-Ray right here, this is it, and we open up X-Ray. And this, as you can see, is very similar to the Chrome extension. It shows us how much money each listing is making. So right now we're on the German Amazon website, and I just searched up coffee, and as you can see, it tells us. Now, in terms of how much they cost, JungleScout usually costs $69 per month for both of the tools, right? Because you can either select one of them, but like I said, I recommend getting both. So $69 per month. Let's say you get 1 month at $69. But if you use the link in the description below this video, then you're going to be able to get JungleScout for 3 months, both tools, for $169. So I think it's about 20% off. So that gives you it for 3 months, and in 3 months, it's more than enough to find a successful product, and it's basically what you need to actually, start this business. Now, if you choose Helium 10, that one costs a little bit more. That one costs $97 per month at the very beginning because it does have a lot of different tools. But that one, actually, I also got a special discount for you guys as well. If you use the link below, then it's either 50% off the first month, which makes it basically drops it down 50% to $49 for the first month, or instead you can choose 10% off every month if you want that discount for forever, basically. So that would bring the price down from $97 per month to $87 per month. So for a product research tool, I'm going to put down $100. I think that's an accurate kind of cost, especially if you get both. And like I said, this is mandatory. If you try to do Amazon without a product research tool and you're not willing to invest at least this money, it's going to be extremely, extremely difficult to find a successful product. You're basically going to be going off of zero data, and you'll have no idea. You're just going to be kind of shooting in the dark. You're just going to be gambling. Might as well go to Vegas. Now, the second thing you'll need is a product sample, and this one is mandatory as well. And when you're contacting suppliers on Amazon and you're trying, you found your product that you want to do, and you're contacting suppliers on Alibaba, to actually check the product quality, I recommend getting a sample. And I used to not get samples. Honestly, I used to just cut straight to the test order because I figured even if they're going to send me a sample, it's just going to be good anyway. Because if you're the supplier, if you think about it, from the supplier's point of view, they're just going to send an amazing quality sample, even if they're trying to screw you on the the actual order, on the actual, product quantity. So now recently I've actually started getting samples because I'm really focused on selling quality products on Amazon, and Amazon has made it very Amazon has made it very clear that if you're not selling quality products on Amazon, products that actually solve people's problems and products that people want to buy, then you're just not going to be successful. And trust me, there's a ton of products on Alibaba. There's a ton of products out there that are very good, and there's always new ones coming out of China every single day, every single week, basically. And you don't even have to source from China. You can source from anywhere in the world, but you will need to get a sample. And I recommend getting at least one sample, preferably 2 to 3. And each sample is going to cost you about $50. So we can put a cost of $50 to $150. And samples, even let's say if your product is going to cost you, let's say $5 per unit, a sample with shipping is a lot more expensive for the supplier to make, especially if you want your logo on the sample. And so that's why they charge $50 for the samples. That's obviously not going to be, how much your actual units cost. So that's why $50 to $150 is a good estimate for a sample. And when you do get the samples to your house, then you'll be able to see, okay, like this one is obviously, sample number 2 is obviously much better than 1 and 3. And then you'll just go with that supplier, and you know that you've already seen the product, so you know exactly what your customers can expect when they're going to get their product, and you know that you're not going to get negative, surprise negative reviews, which can obviously ruin a business. And to get a sample, all you have to do is just ask your supplier, hey, can you send me a sample? You give them your address, and like I said, it's going to be about $50 per unit. Now, the next cost is branding. Now, branding is incredibly important to succeed on Amazon. It used to be less important. Amazon has changed now. Like I said, Amazon's all about building a successful brand. That's the only key to actually winning on Amazon. And that's what I've been focused on my own Amazon, in my own Amazon business. I've stopped even pursuing random products. I've only focused on building actual brands, because actual brand is what, actually build value. And it's something that you can either sell later. It's something that you can grow. You can also expand over to Shopify as well, and that way you have more than one source of income. So for branding, what I mean exactly by branding is, for example, the graphic design. So product packaging, getting an amazing logo, and an amazing product insert. So why this is important is because when a potential customer or someone sees your listing on Amazon, they go on Amazon and they start going through your pictures, they start going through your listing. In your pictures, they check out your logo, they check out what's on your packaging, right? Because you'll have at least one picture in there with your packaging. And we'll talk about product photos as well right after this. The customer buys with their eyes. And even though product packaging is more important in the retail setting, so if the customer was actually in the store and they're browsing for products, then obviously it's more important because they're seeing the packaging. With Amazon, they only see the packaging either in like a picture on your listing, or when they actually get the product when they actually get the product delivered. It's still important, and it's just part of amazing branding. And with amazing branding, you really stand out compared to 99% of the other sellers who don't even, it's funny to me because people still sometimes think they can succeed with using the default packaging from the supplier. So if you ask the supplier, hey, I don't have any of my own branding, can you just use your own branding? They'll just send you a box with Chinese letters on it or with their own marketing material, and that obviously ruins everything and makes your product look like a dollar store product. So I don't recommend that, and I recommend really investing in your branding. Now, branding can get very expensive, and when I was starting out with my Amazon business, I did the branding myself. So I actually asked the supplier for a packaging template, so like a box template, because my product came in a box. And I just went on canva.com. It's a free tool, and I created my own branding. I just created my own logo, a very simple, minimalistic logo, and I just gave it a shot at creating my own kind of graphic design, and it worked. And my product became very successful. I started with about $1,800 for my first initial order, and a few months later, I was making $32,000 a month, just over that. And so I did that with just using the bare minimum. And obviously, when I actually started getting more passive income coming in from my Amazon business, that was when I was able to invest in these things and really improve my brand. And that was when I was able to invest in professional Photoshop and all this stuff. So branding can get very expensive. I'm not going to put in, it can get to $800 or even $1,000 if you really want super high level, next level branding. I think for when you're starting out, you should definitely, if you don't want to, do Canva, because Canva is a free tool and it's not going to look super good, I think that you can expect between $100 and $500. And my favorite website for branding or for hiring a freelancer for actually creating your branding is Upwork.com. There's also a website called Fiverr.com. But on Fiverr.com, I found that it's gotten very expensive and the quality is not so great. And there's just a lot of designers who are just there, basically like machines creating, just they're just basically copy pasting the same branding from other designers on the site. So that's why Upwork.com is great. You can just go on here and you can type in graphic designer, right? And then you'll be able to find amazing freelancers. And this website, I've hired probably over 25 freelancers or maybe over 30 freelancers on this website alone. And you can choose US only if you want like someone who's from the United States. Or what I recommend doing is just clicking US only off and then going to hourly rate and selecting, like honestly, just try first $10 to $30 and then job success, 90% and up, earned amount. You can put like 10K plus earned. And that way you're getting really the highest level freelancers, the best rated freelancers on the website. And you can just message them, you can invite them. You can also create a job on here, right here. And so it's an amazing site. I use it every single day and I highly recommend it for your branding. But an important note is that when you're just beginning, make sure that you're not overpaying for this stuff. Like you really don't need super duper branding, as like what you should be focusing on when you're first starting out with your Amazon business. You should focus on just doing the actions, taking the actions that will make you your first $1,000 in profit. And so for that, you really don't need the most expensive branding. You really don't need to hire the most expensive freelancers. So just watch your costs and make sure that you're reasonable about it. And then once you actually have a profitable business, you're making upwards of 5K, 10K a month, 20K a month, and it's your full-time thing that you're doing, and you're actually living the freedom lifestyle, then go ahead and invest in your branding, invest in making your brand really the best in your niche on Amazon. Now, the next one is product photography, product photos. This one is incredibly important, so I'll put this under mandatory. You need to have amazing pictures on Amazon because that's the first thing that a potential customer is seeing when they're going in your listing. And when you're just starting out with your Amazon product, you have 0 reviews. How are you expecting a potential customer to actually click the add to cart button and buy if the listing isn't even nice, if your pictures aren't even nice? It just doesn't make sense, right? Because you're competing against other sellers who have reviews. Even if your product is better, you have to show that it's better using the pictures, right? And so for that, there's 2 methods. What I recommend is just hiring a professional photographer. Again, you can go on Upwork.com and follow the exact same method. Find a photographer on there. I actually used it a few days ago, and I found a photographer in the United States, and she created incredibly good photos for me. And she actually went and she found a model and everything like that, and they did like lifestyle photos in like the exact setting that I wanted for one of my brands. So it's really good. And product photos, they can obviously be very expensive, but when you're starting out, you really don't need expensive ones. So that's why I'm putting a cost of between $100 and $300. So, if you're gonna go on Upwork, just put in an hourly rate of like $10 to $30, not higher than $40 and definitely not higher than $50 per hour, unless you have a higher starting budget and you really, if you have a higher starting budget, then obviously you can make sure that you're the best. And so if you really have faith in your product, you've seen the data, you've used the tools, and you know that you're gonna make profit, well then in that case, invest. But if you're on a tight budget, no need to spend a lot. So the reason why product photos are so important, I'm gonna show you here. One of my favorite brands on Amazon is called Gator. As you can see, they have amazing pictures. And sorry, I just clicked on their sponsored link, which is Amazon PPC, so they paid a little bit of money for that. But if we go here, you can see, look at their pictures. They're amazing. And here they've got some Photoshop pictures as well. You can actually make this in Canva pretty easily. This one is gonna be a little bit harder, but this one is taken, with a photographer, and they added some text. You can do that in Canva as well. This one shows the packaging. Remember, the packaging I said is very important. This one is like an infographic, and they have a video on here as well. And the video is something that you should worry about later, not at the beginning, because you're not gonna be able to have one anyway. You need like a trademark and brand registry for that, and we'll cover that too. But this is why photos are so important, right? And compare this to a coffee press, for example, like, I don't know, even this one right here, even though it's the top, right? This one isn't really that special, right? So you can see how important it is. Now, the next cost is your inventory. And this is obviously mandatory because you need to actually buy the product to sell. And so this will really depend. What you're gonna be doing is you're gonna be investing in a first test order. And what a test order is instead of buying 1,000 units up front, 2,000 units up front, 5,000 units up front, when you have no idea if the product that you're going to actually sell is going to succeed, it's better to order as little units as possible, because in that case, you're not risking all of that money up front. And so that's why for your first test order, in my experience for new products, it's been anywhere between $500 and $3,000. So you really don't need to go above 3,000. And like I said, this really depends on the per unit cost for your product. So I would say an average of $1,500, so $1,500 for your product, and that would be for, let's say, 250 units of a product that costs $5. Now, my very first product cost me, if I remember correctly, it was $1,800. I think it was $1,876, and I think I ordered definitely over 500 units, between 500 and 750. I don't remember exactly at $1.86, and then there was some shipping involved there. So that it was about $1,800 including shipping. Now, in this number, I'm not including shipping. We're actually going to count shipping as a separate cost because there's a lot of different factors to that as well. But like I said, for inventory, you really can start with $500. Let's say you found a product, and there have been instances where I've seen, you can find a product for like 80 cents and you can get it up on Amazon. You can order like 200 units, and so obviously 80 cents, 200 units, that's like, you can start with $500, but the realistic number for the inventory is probably going to be at least $1,000, $1,500. And an important note here is there's really no need to invest in 1,000 units or 2,000 units at the very beginning. You really can't have that confidence, because even if you see that it's a good opportunity on Amazon and you see that, okay, there's a lot of competitors that are making money, you just don't know, right? Things might turn out differently for you, and everything is learning experience anyway. Even if it doesn't turn out, as good as you think, at least you didn't invest all that money and you didn't risk all those units that you ordered. And now they're stuck in the Amazon warehouse, which happens, right? It's just a normal part of life, obstacles and failures, and that's the whole nature of entrepreneurship. So my best advice is order the minimum order quantity that you can. It's called an MOQ with your supplier, and you can even get that reduced. So if they say, hey, our MOQ is 500 units, you can negotiate with them and tell them, hey, let's just do a 250 just to try it out. Our company wants to test the quality out, and then tell them later on you'll be ordering 500, 1,000 units, and then they're going to be more than willing to give you that. Now the next cost is a barcode, and this one is mandatory. You do need a barcode to sell a product on Amazon. What a barcode is, it's called like a UPC, and it stands for, I think, Universal Product Code or something like that. And basically it's like a unique identifier for your product that is linked to your brand name. Now there's two different options that you have for getting a barcode, and there's one kind of like the official, the right way, but it's also more expensive, and there's also another way, which I recommend if you're starting out and you're on a limited budget. To understand which of the two options is better for you when you're starting out, I'm going to explain quickly how barcodes work. So basically all the barcodes are issued by an official agency called GS1, and you can buy barcodes directly from GS1, but if you buy it directly from them, then that's going to be like the legitimate way, and they're going to actually attach your brand name to your barcode. So that's going to be exclusive of your barcode. Now that's going to cost you more, and a barcode from GS1, and it's not going to sound pretty, it's going to cost you $250 for 1 to 10 barcodes, and there's also a renewal fee of $50. So that is, if you want to go like the official way, then do that. Amazon does claim that they actually go and they check and they track every single barcode, and they see whether it actually coincides with the brand name that you have. But the truth is that I've been using the other option for a very long time. A lot of people that I've coached and students that I've worked with, they've also used the other option. The other option is basically buying a barcode from Barcodes Mania or Nationwide Barcodes. There's a lot of different other sites, and what they do is they basically resell previously used barcodes that haven't been used in a long time. And this is way cheaper. It's $10. But an important note is that you are risking the fact that if you buy the barcode and let's say someone already tried using it on Amazon, it's already been resold to someone, then when you go and create your listing, Amazon's going to say, sorry, you can't use this barcode, which worst case, you can just go and buy another barcode from Barcodes Mania Nationwide Barcodes. So it's really up to you to decide which barcode you want to use, whether you want to use a GS1 barcode and you want to be official from the very beginning. If you have room in your starting budget for that, then I recommend going that way, because then you'll be a legitimate brand. You'll have, all like your barcodes will actually be yours, exclusively your brands, and you're not going to be basically using resold barcodes. But the truth is that with the other option, Amazon really has no way of checking, each barcode, and really has no way of checking like, okay, this barcode that you're trying to use has already been, registered to someone. Like in very rare cases, I've seen it happen, but most of the time you'll be fine. So it's really a decision that's up to you. One will cost $10, the other one is going to be more expensive, but with the other option, rest assured, you'll be official, and basically you'll have like a real barcode. Now let's get to shipping. So shipping obviously is mandatory. So we talked about inventory, and that was just, we assumed, $5 per unit, 250 units, so about like $1,500 to $1,000. So for shipping, there's two different methods of shipping. So there's air shipping and there's sea shipping. So it's like shipping across the ocean by boat. Now there's a difference between the two, and sea shipping takes a long time. So like shipping by boat is going to take you a minimum of 40 days to 55 days, and basically a month and a half. And by the time that actually goes, clears customs, there's a lot of paperwork involved, and you're going to have to use a freight forwarder, and you're also going to have to get what's called a bond, which we'll talk about in a second. But I always prefer air shipping, especially for a first order. Air shipping only takes 3 to 7 days, and time is money. And obviously, the faster that your units are manufactured and the faster they're delivered to the Amazon warehouse, the faster your business is up and running, the faster you're selling and making money and actually getting to that, magic 6 figures mark where you're able to, quit your job and actually make this like your full-time thing, travel the world and experience freedom. Now there's a catch, and the catch is that with air shipping, it costs significantly more than sea shipping, because obviously space on a plane costs more than space on a boat, because there's a lot more space on a boat. So, and also air shipping is way faster. So for air shipping, and we'll say since I recommend using air shipping for your first order, because your first order is only going to be, your test order is only going to be like 250 units, 500 units, maybe 750 units, right? You're not at that stage where you're ordering 3,000 units at once, 4,000 units at once later on when you're selling 20K a month, 30K a month. So in the beginning, with your first order, just do it air, and then you can go and actually move it over to boat shipping, sea shipping, when you're actually established on Amazon and you're actually making money and you're ordering way more units. So it takes up a lot more space on the boat. So that's why for your first order for air shipping, it can cost anywhere between $300 and $1,000. So we're just going to put that range there. And sea shipping, if you choose that, it's going to be significantly cheaper. Now I'm going to talk about something that I've never heard anybody else talk about on YouTube when it comes to Amazon FBA starting costs, and that's a bond. And so what a bond is, there's two different types of bonds. There's single entry bond and a continuous bond. And you'll need this more for sea shipping than for air shipping. For air shipping, you really don't need to worry about this, because for air shipping, you can just ship via DDP. It's called delivered duties paid. It's like shipping terms. And that way all the customs are handled. And basically if there's any customs fees, because when you import units into a country like the US or anywhere else in the world, you will have to pay some customs fees. Sometimes you won't, depending on like the value of your order, right? But for sea shipping, you need a bond. If you're using a freight forwarder, which we're going to talk about in a second here as the next cost, then you can use their bond. But what I recommend doing is, if you're going to be doing multiple shipments a year with sea shipping, then definitely get a continuous bond. So a continuous bond costs $500, and it's $500 per year, and get that if you're doing over 7 shipments per year. So that at that point, obviously, of a successful Amazon FBA business, a single entry bond costs $100, so you can get that, and it will be cheaper still than a freight forwarder if you're going to be doing sea shipping. But like I said, for air shipping, you really don't have to worry about a bond. And freight forwarders, if you're going to use them, they have their own. So that brings us to the next cost, and that's a freight forwarder. So what a freight forwarder is, it's a company that handles all the paperwork and handles all the shipping, and basically with all the shipping lines and things like that, and picking up the goods from the port and taking them, putting them like on the trucks and everything like that, getting them to the Amazon warehouse. So they handle all that kind of stuff. And basically what happens is, when you're talking to your supplier is going to ask you, hey, are you going to be arranging your own shipping, or do you want us to use our own freight forwarder to arrange the shipping? And so I usually just use their freight forwarder. I've tried using different freight forwarders, and honestly the difference isn't significant. The advantage of a freight forwarder is that if you spend all this money on your Amazon investment and your Amazon business, you obviously don't want your Amazon product to just be lost at sea somewhere on a boat and it's never going to arrive to the Amazon warehouse. So with a freight forwarder, you're almost sure that it's going to arrive to the warehouse safe and sound, and they'll arrange all the paperwork because they have all the experience to do that. With air shipping, it's really easy because you can just use DHL or FedEx, and you tell your supplier to use them, and then there it's all really easy. Really, it just goes to the Amazon warehouse, and if there's customs fees, your supplier tells you, or DHL you basically just call DHL and you just pay them with your credit card. So the freight forwarder, I recommend getting the quote from them. They're also good for comparing their quote compared to the supplier's quote, because the supplier will give you a shipping quote, and you can also contact a freight forwarder, and ask for their own quote. For example, one is called Forest Shipping, and there's many others out there like Unicargo. And so this one will cost between, we'll just say $200 and $300. It's optional, so it's really up to you. Now the next cost is the Amazon selling plan. So to sell on Amazon, you will need to enroll into the Amazon seller services. So you'll have to pay for a monthly plan. It's either a monthly plan or basically like a plan where you don't pay a monthly fee, but then when you actually start selling, you have to pay for each individual unit. So the plan that you will need to actually build a successful business on Amazon is the professional selling plan, and that one costs $39.99 a month. And you have to pay that regardless of whether you sold any units that month on Amazon, because Amazon charges you that because you just, they give you the privilege of selling on their platform. You have to pay that fee. However, let's say you sold $500 of, let's say of your sales on Amazon, for the professional selling plan, they won't give you a separate charge. They'll just take that off of the $500 on your Seller Central account. So you don't have to worry about that as long as you're making sales. Now, what I recommend when you're just getting started, when you're opening your Amazon seller account, you can start with the individual selling plan, and that one doesn't give you a monthly fee, but then when you actually start selling, you have to pay $1 per item, 99 cents per item, and then referral fees. So what I recommend is when you're starting out, do the individual plan, and then when you actually have your listing built out and you're creating your shipping plan to ship your product into Amazon, then switch over to the professional plan, and that way it's going to charge you $40. And if you actually want to send units into the warehouse and you want to run Amazon PPC, pay-per-click, it's the pay-per-click advertising on the platform, which you'll need to launch your product, you will need to have the professional plan because that gives you access to more inventory space, which you'll need for your units, and also the Amazon PPC. Now, an important tip is that if you did choose the professional plan, and let's say there were some delays, and let's say that you ended up paying $40 for 2 months and you just weren't selling, you can always call up Amazon or contact their customer service or their seller support. It's called like their seller support service. You can contact them and you can explain to them, hey, I wasn't selling during this time. Can I have a refund for my professional plan? And they'll be happy to refund you it. That's actually what happened to me and when I started out. And so I got the refund and it was really no problem. But you need to have the professional plan when you have the units in. Remember to do that. I'm in the mistake of when I actually got my units in, I was still on the individual plan, and so I started making a lot of sales per day, and so I had to pay a lot of money in the individual plan fee. So just make sure you have the professional plan by the time you start selling. Now the next cost is the early reviewer program, and this one I'll put in the optional category, but I would say that this is more mandatory because this really helps you get those initial reviews. Reviews are everything on Amazon, but the good news is that you really don't need a lot of reviews to actually start making money. As soon as you have a few 5-star reviews showing that your product is good and it's worth the price that customers are paying for, then you'll see that your sales will jump up like crazy, and that's when you'll actually start getting those 10 sales, 30 sales a day, 50 sales a day days, and that's when you're actually making money and making significant passive income. So the early reviewer program, that costs about $70, and it's available in the US and the UK right now. And how it works is you go and you enable it once your product actually comes into Amazon and you have your listing up and running. You just go in your Seller Central account and you enable it at the top of your selling account. You'll see under promotions, I believe, and you just click on early reviewer program if you're in the US or UK, and you put in your SKU. So that's like the code of your product. You'll see that in your seller account. You'll see it says there when you actually look at your inventory, and you just put it in there, you turn it on. And what happens is that Amazon goes and actually sends customers messages and incentivizes them to buy your product. And they actually give them a $1 to $3, like a small reward, so like a $1 to $3 Amazon gift card. And you'll see that when they leave a review, in the review section, you'll see it'll say early reviewer program. So other customers will see that it was early reviewer program, but it's still a very verified review, which is very important because verified reviews are what you need to build social proof on your listing. Social proof is when a customer goes on your listing, they can see that, okay, I'm not the only one that's buying this product right now. There were others and they were happy. And so that's why this really helps. But you still need to get sales to actually get those reviews, and Amazon is not going to go and just make you reviews. Like I said, it's just a small program that helps when you're beginning. And by the way, for the early reviewer program, Amazon goes and charges that from your seller account. So it's not like they go and charge your credit card unless you've made 0 sales, but they'll just go and they'll take whatever your sales are and they'll minus the early reviewer program cost of $70, and they'll charge that as soon as you get your first review. And you'll get 5 reviews from the early reviewer program, and it can take anywhere between 2 weeks to a month, let's say. And you'll notice that most of the reviews will just pop up kind of in a short period of time altogether. Now the next cost is product giveaways. So what a product giveaway is when you first are launching your product on Amazon, it's going to be on like page 13, page 15, page 25 for your main keywords. So let's say you're launching, I don't know, barbecue gloves. I always use that example. Very original, right? But if you're launching barbecue gloves, you'll see that they're going to be on like page 30. And so on page 30, no one's going to go, and when they're typing in barbecue gloves, no one's going to go and click on page 30 to buy your product with 0 reviews. It's just not going to happen. So that's why you can artificially basically inflate the algorithm on Amazon, and you can artificially show Amazon, hey, I'm getting sales on my product, so just rank me higher. Because that's how the Amazon algorithm works. The more sales you get, the closer they move you to page 1. And I have a video on this, how to do this with ManyChat, how to do this with a lot of different tools. Now, I personally don't like giveaways because I don't like giving away stuff at a discount. I just would rather launch Amazon PPC, which I'm going to talk about in a second here. But if you do choose giveaways, I would only do them if you tried a PPC launch and let's say you're in a very competitive market, then you can go and run some product giveaways. So you can use like Facebook ads in combination with ManyChat, which is a chatbot. I've got a video on that as well on my channel. But this is definitely optional, and I just launched a few products without doing any kind of giveaways, and they were, I would say, in medium to high competition markets. So it's really more about your branding, how you brand it, and the product that you're launching, and also the reviews, right? So as soon as you get those, 3 to 5 5-star reviews, that's when really you're going to start getting sales. Now the next cost is Amazon PPC, so this stands for pay per click. And if you've ever seen those sponsored ads at the top of Amazon, that's what that is. So you can basically, no matter if you're on page 15 or page 30, you can bid for that spot at the top, and it's an auction system. So you can basically pay per click. So you can, let's say when you're just launching, it's really helpful because you can say, okay, Amazon, rank me for BBQ gloves, barbecue gloves, and I'm willing to pay up to $1.55 per click. And so that way it really, basically helps you get sales at the very beginning when you're just starting out and you're on like a far off page. So the thing with PPC is that a lot of people ask me, hey Dan, like how much can I expect to actually spend on PPC? And the true honest answer is that it really depends on the keywords that you're bidding for. It depends on your bids. It depends on your budgets, right? So this is all entirely up to you. And PPC is designed to actually make you money in the end. So in the beginning, when you're launching your product with PPC, yeah, it might cost some money because it's part of just the marketing budget. It might cost you, $50, $100, maybe $200 at most. But eventually, after you actually get those reviews, because the sales that you'll get from PPC will get you reviews if you have the early review program turned on, then you'll see that the PPC will actually become way more profitable as more people who are clicking are actually buying, right? Because not everybody who's going to click is going to buy. So with PPC, I can't give you an exact kind of price on that or cost on that, but I would say between $50 and $200, and that's going to get you sales. So it's not like that money just goes in the garbage. It's going to get you sales, and it's going to get you reviews, and eventually you can make PPC basically like print you money. Once you get good at PPC, and I've gotten really, really good at PPC after years of experience, it's basically like money printing. I know it sounds crazy, but that's what it is, right? Because if you pay, let's say $1 per click, your product costs $20, and after all the fees, you're making a profit of $10, and you're paying $1 per click, and someone buys, it's a $9 profit, right? So it takes off the PPC. So that's how that works. Now the next cost, and this one is optional for sure. This one is a trademark. So what a trademark is it allows you to register your brand with the government, and that way, if somebody tries to go and sell products that are in the same category as you under your brand name, so they try to basically sell counterfeit products and they try to pose as you, then they're not going to be able to because you own a trademark. And there's two ways of doing this. You can do this in any country in the world. I recommend doing it at least in the country that you're selling in. Well, you will need to do it in the country that you're selling in order to get special features on Amazon, like for example, Amazon Brand Registry, which allows you to lock your brand to any kind of hijackers and allows you to get A+ content on your listing, which is like videos. You can put infographics in there and frequently asked questions, so it really increases the quality of your listing. So for trademarks, you can do it yourself. You can just go on the USPTO website, and it's the United States Patent and Trademark Office. If you are selling in Canada, you will need a Canadian trademark. So you just search up, Canadian Patent Office or Trademark Office. In Europe, it's the same. The costs slightly vary, but they're, pretty much more or less the same. You go here, trademarks, and this will tell you exactly. So you click on apply online. This will tell you exactly how to do everything. There's a ton of videos on here. It will take you a few hours if you want to do this yourself, but it will be cheaper than hiring a lawyer. And the cost to actually file a trademark is $350 US. Now, if you want to make sure that you're actually, filing the trademark correctly, then I recommend getting a lawyer. And that's what I do. I have a lawyer that I work with, and I always just have him file all my trademarks, and I trademark everything because intellectual property is very important to have as part of a business. And so if you're going to do it with a lawyer, expect a cost anywhere between $750 to $1,000. But at least then you know that it's going to be a quality trademark and everything's going to be done by the book. And that, by the way, is also on top, you're going to have to pay the actual trademark fee of $350 to the USPTO office. But an important note here is that at the beginning, you don't need this. And I only recommend getting this after you already, have ordered, let's say your second order, your third order, you know that your product is successful, you're making money, and your brand is, getting known by customers. At that point, then get a trademark. At the very beginning, there's no need to get a trademark because you don't know if you're going to spend all this money on getting a trademark, and then that specific product doesn't work out, then you just wasted that money, right? So I wouldn't worry about trademark at the beginning, but eventually, after a month, 2 months, 3 months of successful selling, get a trademark. It's just really important as part of any business. Now the next cost, and this one is optional, but I highly, highly recommend it, is getting a course that will actually teach you every single step and will show you in videos every single step that you need to actually know to successfully start an Amazon FBA business, grow it and scale it, and then build it to a point where you're able to actually get freedom from the 9 to 5 in your life and the freedom to travel and everything that goes with that. And so a course can cost anywhere between, at the lowest $1,000 to all the way up to $6,000. I know of courses that cost $4,000, $6,000. And it's really up to you what you want to invest in. I don't recommend getting a course that's $4,000, $6,000. You can be using that money for starting inventory. So what you really need is just something that will show you step by step everything that you need to know to successfully start an Amazon FBA business, in and out, every single question answered from zero, from start to finish. As well, the course should include mentorship. Mentorship is huge, and that's how I started out. I had really early mentors, and I had access to them through courses that I invested in. And trust me, without those courses, I would not be where I am today, and I would definitely not have any of my businesses. I would not have my Amazon business, and nothing. I wouldn't even figure out how to successfully sell my first product, let alone how to even choose the product, let alone how I set up my product on Amazon. So like I said, this is optional. I know that you're probably thinking, hey, I could probably do this without a course. But the truth is that if you actually run the little calculation in your head and you do it really quickly, it's a very disturbing cost. It really is the cost of going at it alone. And it will cost you potentially thousands of dollars in failed products that you could have used in successful products, right? Because part of a good course is being able to submit your product for verification, just to have it run over by like a mentor and to see whether it's something that is useful in pursuing or not. And so, if you're just starting out, you're thinking of doing this alone, it's going to take you an enormous amount of time, hundreds of hours, maybe thousands of hours trying to piece together all this conflicting information on YouTube. And also it's going to basically take you an enormous amount of money getting through mistakes and hurdles that a course could have easily taught you if you just watched it and invested in yourself. So in my opinion, a tiny price to pay for a huge return, right? The best investment you can make is an investment in yourself. But again, this is optional. It's not mandatory. All right, so now we've got all the costs up here, and we can basically do a total of the mandatory and a total of the optional costs. So for the mandatory total, and I basically just took an average of each of these costs because we have a lot of ranges on here, right? Like 300 to 1,000, 200 to 300. So for mandatory, the total is $2,488. And I would say that's a realistic cost in really getting a proper brand set up on Amazon, getting your product in there, everything to do with that, having a beautiful logo, beautiful branding, and something that can really command your niche, be at the top, and start getting you a ton of sales where you can then grow your brand. So 2,488, realistic number. Can you get started with 2,000, 1,000, 1,500? Of course you can. And like I said, if you just do the simple calculation, we did the $2,488 calculation based off of an investment of $5 per unit. So you can invest into $1 per unit, $2 per unit. So when you're starting out, you have to decide for yourself. It depends on the product that you choose, but this is just really an average, and it's a realistic average. It's an honest average, right? So that's why when people ask me, hey, how much does it cost to start selling on Amazon? I give them a range, right? Like $1,000 to $3,000 at the most. Do you need to invest $3,000? No, you really don't. But like I said, it depends on a lot of different variables that we discussed here. Now for the optional total, and that's all the optional stuff that you don't need at the beginning, but maybe that applies later. The optional total is $1,900. So that includes a course, that includes Trademark, that includes like giveaways and early review program and things like that. So there you go, $1,900 for optional, $2,488 for mandatory. So now I'm going to do a month-to-month breakdown based on your first 2 orders, because I want to show you exactly what to expect, because everybody only talks about the very beginning, but you have to know what kind of cash flow or what kind of cash flow issues or potential obstacles you can expect to run into when you actually get started with your Amazon business. So in month 1, if your first order costs you about $2,500, if you're going to go with the mandatory total, then we're basing that off of a $5 per unit times 250 unit test order. And let's say we're selling at $30. You can, let's say, also sell at $40. For this, we'll just say 30. Our revenue from this will be 250 units times $30 will be $7,500. Now, revenue is not profit. A typical profit margin on Amazon on usual orders, so I'm talking about orders like not your very first order, but like orders after that, so second, third, fourth, fifth. Once you're actually established, you've got some reviews on your product, which doesn't take a long time. The typical profit is about 40%. It can be upwards of 50%, maybe 55%, and the lowest is 30%. Anything lower than that is really not worth it in my opinion, and I don't do anything lower than that. So your profit after launch for a revenue of $7,500 plus PPC, right? So let's say you spent some money on PPC to get your product going, would be between $1,000 and $3,000 on revenue of $7,500. So between 10% and 30% on your first order. And that's realistic. That includes PPC, that includes your launch costs, right? You can even break even on your first order, but even then, you now have a profitable passive income source that you can just keep, feeding with inventory, and it's going to keep basically printing you money. It's going to basically keep giving you money, putting money in your pocket as long as you optimize the listing, keep maintaining it, and keep growing it with good reviews. And so then, let's say you sold out, you profited $1,000 to $3,000. Well, you need to actually reorder your second order before you've sold out, or else you'll be out of stock. And on Amazon, it's not really good to be out of stock for a long time, because then you lose your rank. It's not the end of the world if you're out of stock for a week. It's happened to me many, many times. But obviously, you don't want to be out of stock. So that's why for your second order, you will have to come up with the money to reorder your second order. So you will make some profit, and Amazon will pay you after 2 weeks with your first order. But for your second order, you will need to come up with, let's say if your first order, our first order in this case, is 250 units. So second order will be 500 units, let's just say. I recommend doing a second order of double the units of your first order. Some people, they're just like all in and they just do 1,000 units. And in that case, if you have that capital, maybe you have access to, I don't know, like low interest loans or things like that. At that point, it's pretty obvious you have a functioning business. So you just need the cash to put it in, right? Then obviously it makes sense. But in my experience, just if you start with 250 units, do 500 units, it's going to cost you double. So it might cost you, let's say, $4,000, $5,000 for your second order. But then by the time you get the profit in with Amazon and you combine that with the money that you already have, hopefully you have some savings and you have access to some loans, that'll get you up and running for your second order. And by that point, when your second order comes in, by that point, Amazon's already paid you and is paying you every 2 weeks straight directly into your bank account. So then you shouldn't run into any cash flow problems, and then you'll just keep growing. So the truth is that you can get by with, $1,000 to $2,000 in this business to start. But the more money you have and the more money that, you can obviously invest, the more savings you have to invest, the more potential there is. And it's a long-term business. It's not something that you can expect to feed money in your pocket now. If you expect that, it's just going to disappoint you. And even when I was going into it, I realized very quickly that it wasn't that. And I wasn't looking for that. I was just looking for a business that I could start to quit my hated corporate job at the time. I had already quit, but I was, basically looking to live this passive income lifestyle, a laptop lifestyle. I was looking to start traveling the world and really achieve freedom in my life, something that I've been dreaming of for a long, long time. And so this is the business that allowed me to do it, because from the very beginning, I knew it was a long-term play. And by long-term, I mean at least a few months out. So, this is a business that will reward you in 6 months, in a year. Imagine if you start today, where you're going to be in 6 months to a year. Imagine if you started a year ago, right? Amazon is expanding every single day, and they posted, I think, I'm not sure, 15 to 20% increase over last year in their earnings. And it's obviously continuing to grow every single year. More and more people are turning away from retail stores and they're buying on Amazon. So who is going to provide those products to Amazon customers, right? So that's people like you. So, if you just look at this as a long-term, 6 months to 1 year investment, you'll see where you'll be in 1 year will be so much different than where you are today, as long as you can get through those hurdles and obstacles. And like I said in this video, a lot of these costs are variable and based entirely on the price per unit that we're investing in the product. Like I said, my first product cost me $1.86 per unit, and I sold it for $19.99, $20 on Amazon. And what happened was I built that into a $30K per month income stream really fast, because I had access to a loan and things like that. So that's why I was able to feed a lot of money into it at the beginning, which even if you don't, that's fine, right? You can trust me, you can always make the circumstances fit the opportunity. It's all about your will. It's all about your willpower, whether you really want freedom, whether you really are willing to basically do anything to fight for freedom and achieve it, and to show to your family, your friends that, hey, you can do this and that you can really achieve the life of your dreams. So you can be an example for everybody in your life and for yourself, right? You can prove to yourself that you can do this. So I started with the $1.86 product, and then I moved over to a $2 product, and then a $4 product, and then an $8 product, and then obviously it just kept growing from there. And so the products that I do now are upwards of $10 mostly. Some of them are $5. But obviously with more cash and more profit coming in, you can reinvest it in your business, and then you're able to do more expensive products as you go. So no one says you have to start with these expensive products. You start low, and then you go eventually, you keep climbing, and then you get to those more expensive products that make more profit. So this entire example was the true no BS way. As you can see, I dived in month to month. There was nothing hidden, and it was just the total truth. And this was all based on realistic expectations and realistic costs, based on what I've seen in my own business, as well as based on what I've seen in my student businesses. And I've coached many, many people in succeeding with Amazon FBA and building freedom in their life, building a successful online business. And so if you feel like this is too much of an investment, if you feel like $1,000, $1,500, $2,000 is too much, and you simply like don't have that starting capital, or you just don't want to invest that, that's totally fine. Like right now, the internet has given so many opportunities to people around the world, not only in Amazon FBA, but for example, with affiliate marketing, or with, starting a successful YouTube channel, and you can just go and recommend other people's products there. Or, even for example, the person editing this video, my video editor, right? He lives a laptop lifestyle, and he is my video editor. He can technically work from anywhere because, and he's not an entrepreneur. He didn't have to actually like put up all that upfront risk, and he didn't have to go through all those obstacles and all those hurdles that someone like me had to go through. And so I'm saying that to show you that there are a lot of options out there. But if you truly have the entrepreneurial spirit and you want total and ultimate freedom in your life, then it's a no-brainer. Amazon FBA, there's no other business like it that you can start today. And you've seen, the potential that you can transform into a fantastic income for yourself and really be able to travel the world, live from anywhere, and have financial freedom. And so there's so many like Amazon gurus on YouTube. There's so many YouTubers out there, and they all, paint it that it's fast. If you've seen my recent videos, you've seen like how, it's just the truth. It's just how it is. And my mission is to build the #1 platform in the world for helping people start a successful online business in e-commerce, because I believe e-commerce is the best way for people to actually achieve freedom and have an extremely profitable online business. And so, as I've talked about as an expense in this video, as one of the expenses was the course. I've actually created the Ecom Freedom course. I created that in 2017 because I started this YouTube channel, and I've had tons of people ask me, hey, Dan, can you come out with a course because I want to, live the same freedom lifestyle that you've been able to achieve for yourself. And it's grown like crazy. Over 5,000, almost 6,000 people have gone through the course, and we have the most amount of success stories in the industry. Ecom Freedom is a movement around the world. And so I've designed that course as a complete step-by-step guide with every single step that you need to learn, showing everything on Amazon, how to find successful products, how to rank them, how to launch them, how to grow, scale, and really just build a worldwide brand, move on to Shopify. So every single step is in there, and it's really grown into the #1 platform in the world for teaching people how to start a successful online business. And so that's my mission. I'm super happy about that. The price of the course right now is $497. It's been $497 for 2.5 years, and I'm finally increasing the price to $997 as basically I want to make it more exclusive, and I want to attract better quality people who are more committed to success in the community, and I want to really improve the quality of the community. And so I will be increasing the price of the course on Wednesday, and so the link is down below. You can go ahead, join. You'll also get unlimited mentorship. You'll get access to me as well as 2 multiple six-figure sellers, Luke and Connie, who are the community managers, and they've both been mentored by me, and they both have extremely successful Amazon FBA businesses. So make sure to join before the price goes up to $997. I might even increase the price right after I post this video because I'm already getting a ton of students who are joining because they want to obviously access the course for half off, right? It's 50% off right now. So if you join, I'll see you in there. And if not, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you see that freedom is worth anything. Like, never give up, and if you can't give up, you can't fail. It's one of my favorite quotes. Like, everything that we do in life, if you think about it, is for freedom. And I found that Amazon FBA, starting a successful Amazon FBA business right now, and just pursuing online business is the best way that anybody can go build freedom in their life and really truly build happiness and achieve their destiny. Hope you enjoyed. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, leave me a comment. I'll be responding to every single comment on this video. And so just go ahead if you have any questions to Amazon FBA, starting the business, finding successful products, leave a comment down below. Thank you for watching. This was a long one. I'll see you soon.